complete control.
No shirt, no shoes, no dive. Right. Learn it.
Complete Control Radio. My guest in the studio for the first time in a long time, Bedouin Soundclash, all the way from Canada. How the hell are you guys?
Great.
Good, man.
I can't believe the last time I saw you guys, we were in Austin, Texas. It was 4 a.m. We were at some kid's house that allowed the whole tour to go over there. And at one point, I had vinyl records out. We were DJing, and we started talking about how that Superbad, I never knew everyone in Superbad, there's a connection with Canada. I didn't know that until that night. I thought maybe you were making it up that night, Jay. Is that true? Is Superbad?
No. My girlfriend went to school with Seth Rogen in high school. That's all written about.
Is that all
high
about
school, like right close to my house in Vancouver?
Did you feel like a connection to the whole movie when you saw it?
They do use a lot of the names.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Good?
There's a real Sammy Fogel, like McLovin. Yeah.
That's true.
I saw him over the Christmas break. Yeah.
Do you go, hey man, check it out? They made a movie about you.
He was pretty upset about it. He did an interview with Rolling Stone. He was really pissed off, actually.
Damn. So everyone that's writing a movie, change the names when you get down that road.
Or lose all your friends.
Or lose all your friends.
It's a good way. I mean, he's going to the top, so he might as well lose his baggage.
Yeah, he's breaking all the branches on the tree as he climbs to the top.
Right.
But sooner or later, bro, you may write the movie.
Comedy style, right?
There you go. Hey, I want to thank you guys for stopping by. You're currently out on the road promoting Street Gospels. Great record, and I'm not saying this because it's on Sideondummy, but the first record, Sounding Mosaic, to this record, can you explain to the listeners how a lot of this stuff was recorded earlier in your career, how you re-recorded some of it, just basically like the whole configuration of both the records? Maybe, Jay, do you want to tackle that?
Yeah, that really was your fault, Joe.
Was that our fault?
Yeah. What happened was...
Well, tell us the way that you wanted it to go down.
Okay. I wanted you to put out Street Gospels when you put out Sounding Mosaic.
So we went backwards.
And you guys put out... Then you guys said, no, now we're gonna put out Sounding Mosaic. So then we had to wait on it. We had to go tour the States for about 2 years.
Speaking of the first tour in the States...
Tell everyone
this is our first I'm saying tour. The first time you guys came to the States.
Warped Tour.
Warped Tour, yeah.
What was that like? I asked the Gallows the same question. They were on the show a couple weeks ago. They're from England, nice group of kids. Their first time ever in the United States, they get thrown out on the Warped Tour. Tell everyone what it's like just getting thrown into that. I mean, Eon, you want to explain that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. I mean, it was like a very, very dirty, grimy tour. And, it provided a good opportunity for us, I guess, to introduce ourselves to the States.
We were saying, too, that every band you ask that question to will say the exact same thing. They'd be like, oh my God, the Warped Tour. Like every band get the same expression.
It's true.
Right?
Yeah. It's either the bands that haven't done it before that want to do it are always like, yeah, it's wicked, we're going to do the Warped Tour. But if they talk to a band that's done it, they're always like, oh, you're doing the Warped Tour? Like we were talking to the Flogging Molly guys in Austin, and I was like, hey, are you guys doing Warped Tour? And Nate was like, no. Like his reaction was amazing.
But it's weird. There's like a Warped Tour amnesia too, though, because like after a certain point, you just start forgetting, and then you're like, yeah, no, like because we're going to do like, some of the Warped Tour.
You guys are back on it for 2 weeks this year.
Yeah, we're going to go on. It's going to be great. You sort of like forget. And, parts of it are great.
Yeah, you get nostalgia.
And I know that you met a lot of friends out on the Warped Tour, and one of the things that everyone that I've talked to that's into Bedouin Soundclash, you guys have such a wide variety of fans. I mean, you have this whole like ska, reggae, almost skinhead, following, and then you have like the college fan, and then you have the punk rock, you have the guy with the mohawk at the show, and your music touches on so many different, influences. Was that a plan when three of you guys got together? Maybe you can touch on some of the influences that you guys grew up on. You want to tackle that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I mean, I guess we all listen to very different music, like a ton of.
What did you grow up listening to?
I like punk music. I mean, I was into like the Clash was really the first band that got me into reggae.
Yeah.
And it just went from there, just like picking up. Okay, what's Police and Thieves about? Okay, I'm gonna go pick up and you keep going on more and more records. Eventually getting into. That's how I got into reggae, and also through a bit of electronic music, like Asian Dub Foundation or something like that. So. That's when I first met. We all met at university. That was, I guess like the foundation though was that we all had reggae as like the fundamental part of our band, and we came in from very different angles. I know the other guys probably have different influences too.
And what were some of the influences you grew up with, Pat?
I grew up with just listening to a lot of soul music, a lot of jazz music, a lot of hip hop,
yeah,
stuff like that.
It's funny because that all kind of comes into what Bedouin Soundclash is about. You know, and it's you know, and it's definitely a different sound that you guys are going for. But I gotta say, a lot of bands that try to go for the sound you're going for, it just doesn't come off good. You know what I'm saying? And it seems like with what you guys are doing, it's really your own take on reggae and take on your own sound, opposed to trying to sound like someone else. On this particular record, too, Street Gospels. You know, what were you guys striving for to do that was going to be different from, say, sounding Mosaic?
I think just finding, you know, just furthering our own sound. And I agree with you. Like, you know, reggae is a 4-letter word when it comes to fusion these days. I mean, there's been a lot of terrible bands that have done reggae, especially in the States. I mean, so I guess for us, we just really want to solidify like what we're about, as opposed to like and making something different and standing alone from, say, like, especially when, you know, we're here in California, like there are tons of reggae fusion bands here, like that are all based on Sublime. We kind of want to say like we're separate from that a bit. You know, we're from a very different part of the continent, and
we have like a ton of respect. I think the biggest difference I've noticed with a lot of those kinds of bands that are coming out that maybe do a more watered down version of it is that like we have a lot of respect for the architects of the music that we're borrowing from. You know what I mean? We really study the music, like we study music, and we look back into the history and try to not only find out about, you know, who was playing what, but why they were doing it and where they were and stuff like that. I think that really has a big impact on, you know, how authentic our fusion is in comparison with a lot of other people.
So you take a little bit of what they're doing then, and then put in what you guys want to do, but stay on the foundation of some of those original artists that you guys grew up listening to. Would that be safe to say, kind of the plan of what you guys
I guess
kind of grew it off of for Bedouin Soundclash?
Yeah, maybe, I guess just going back maybe to the original source, maybe having a bit more reverence for the stuff. But I mean, the main thing is, though, too, is that we just don't understand what it's like to grow up in Southern California. Yeah. So we don't know that lifestyle. So that's probably why we don't sound anything like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? It's definitely making a difference. You know, and going on the bus with you guys, whenever you guys roll through town, it's so many different, you know, musicals, like sitting on there. It's like what you guys play through the stereo, whether it's like something from the 60s, you know, reggae artists from the 70s. Every time I go on there, I feel like I leave with like a different sounding artist. Like, hey, I want to go research that. You know, for anyone listening to the show right now, what would be like throw out 3 artists that you'd say right now, go there. You know, if you dig what Bedouin Soundclash is about, this is the stuff that we grew up listening to. Something that you could turn someone on to right now.
That they wouldn't know about.
That they wouldn't know about.
Yeah, that they wouldn't know about. Something that, you know, you discover a new artist.
Yeah.
And you're like, you know, just like you said, you discovered, say, Junior Marvin, you know, through The Clash. Same here, Police and Thieves. And then you went back because you were like, The Clash are into this. What would be some artists that maybe inspired you guys that you could turn the listeners onto?
Inspired like bands that right now, I think there's like the Bees are a band that I think are amazing.
How about some of the more traditional artists, maybe just in the reggae world?
Ken Lazarus.
Yeah, Ken Lazarus.
He's a really overlooked reggae, amazing songwriter from the 60s, 70s.
Yeah,
anything on your end, Patrick?
One of my favorite artists of all time is Thelonious Monk. So check that out.
Man, check that out. That's very eclectic. You're going jazz, reggae. I don't even know where we're going. I know, though, that right now I have to play some music. My guest in the studio, Bedouin Soundclash. This is off of Street Gospels, in stores everywhere now. Check this out. This is Walls Fall Down on Complete Control Radio.